When you're setting up your online store, there are a lot of elements you need to take into consideration to make the overall experience for the customer enjoyable and make them want to shop with you again. This can include navigation menus, so it's easy for the customer to find what they're looking for, and detailed product pages, so that they get more images and a longer description so they know what they're purchasing. One element that I feel is often overlooked by merchants is the checkout process. When customers are ready to check out, you want to make sure that you're not making them question what things mean, or you're not asking for too much personal information that could scare them off. They've already found products in your store that they like the total of the product, and they want to purchase it. So you want to make it easy for customers to purchase from your store. So first, let me start out by pointing out a few things that I like about this checkout process. I like the progress bar at the top, and it lets me know how far along I've already come. I like that the total is big and bold, so I don't have to wonder what the final amount is going to be. There's no hidden fees, there's no tax hidden fees or shipping hidden fees. And I like that my shipping options are clear and easy to see on the page, and the first one's already selected for me. So if I just quickly am ready to check out and I overlook the shipping and click on checkout, I won't get an error message saying I need to select the shipping. It's already defaulted and selected for me. Some things I don't like. If I want to change my order, say I no longer want the rubber ducky in my order, I can't just click on remove. There's no remove button. The only button I see is empty cart. In order to remove it, I'd actually have to change the quantity to 0 and then click on recalculate. So I would prefer to have a remove button here. Another thing that I would like is have an image of my product. So not only do I have the name of the product, but I can make sure that the color option that I selected or the size that I selected or things like that are exactly what I want by seeing a picture of it. So let's change both of those things. If you go in your ShopSite back office, click on Commerce Setup, and then click on Order System. Here you have all of the pages in the checkout process, including the shopping cart, checkout, confirmation, and thank you, as well as the email receipt to customers and some basic layout options. Let's start in the layout info section. Here I can change the colors in my cart, set up a background graphic, select the template, choose the number of columns if I'm using product ordering options, and turn on the display of a product image. So I do want to display the product image on both the shopping cart and the HTML receipts. I don't think it's necessary on the checkout, confirmation, and thank you because those are all just for the customers to enter their information. They've already confirmed the products that they want. So I only want to display it in my shopping cart. So I'm going to click on Save Changes, go back to my cart, and refresh the page. And you'll see now I have the images of my products in my cart. So this makes me as a customer feel more comfortable because I see the product that I want to order. So now let's add those remove buttons. Back in the back office, if I, again, under Commerce Setup and Order System, I can click on Shopping Cart because that's the page I'm on, the shopping cart page, and I have a couple settings here, including displaying remove buttons, displaying update buttons, changing how the product name is displayed, and adding my own text to the screen, including the text at the top of the screen and text at the bottom of the screen. You can change any of those settings, but I liked most of the shopping cart. I don't want to clutter it up with too much text or too much for customers to read. A lot of customers are pretty visual, so I just want to have buttons and the checkout process. So I'm going to display the remove buttons, save changes, and go back to my cart and refresh the page. And you'll see now I have the remove option. So let's just remove the rubber ducky. So now the order is set up the way I want. I have shipping already selected for me, so I'm going to click on checkout. Now the checkout screen is a sensitive screen. Customers are entering in their personal information here. So first, you don't want to ask for too much personal information that you may scare the customer away. Now, although we do have some fields that are required, such as the email, and then a bunch of fields that are not required, like the title, the middle name, and the suffix, a lot of times customers overlook that and think they have to fill in all the fields. So as a general rule of thumb, I tell merchants that if a field is not required, don't include it. The less personal information you ask for, the more likely the customer is going to check out. Too much information, you could scare them off. So let's go ahead and remove some of these fields. Let's remove anything that's not necessary for the order. So in the back office, now we're on the checkout screen, so click on checkout. And you can just uncheck the checkbox next to the fields that are display only, not required. So I'm removing the title, the middle, the suffix, and since I'm selling toys, I don't really need their company information because it's likely that they're not a company, they're just an individual merchant or individual customer. So I'm going to turn that both off for the billing and for the shipping address information. Save changes at the bottom, go back to your checkout page and refresh it, and you can see the updated changes. So this page is less intense now. It has less fields for them to fill in, and it's just the bare minimum. It's just their email, their name, and their address. Some merchants do include additional information. For example, if you're collecting their email, you may want to make a note that they won't be used for spam or that you won't be selling their email or things like that, make them more comfortable. Or if you're getting their phone number, tell them why you're getting their phone number in case they have questions about the order and need to contact you. So you can include those notes, but I think this page looks good so far. A few things I also want to point out that I like about this page. I like, again, that the total is still big. They've already agreed to the total, but it's good to remind them there's no hidden charges that you're adding on. Again, that progress bar so you can see how far along in the checkout you are. And down here, this is something that you may not think about, but in the expiration date for credit cards, most of the time they're done by number. So it'll be 01/11 or something like that. But I do believe there are some credit cards that go by the month that'll say January 11. So I like to include both the 01 and the January so customers don't accidentally select the wrong number if their card says the month name, or if they select the wrong month name if their card says the number. This way they can match it up exactly and they won't get an error message saying some information isn't correct. So I make sure I include both the number and the name and just have basic information. So let's finish the checkout process. Since this is just a test order, I'm just going to place a demo or test credit card number in here. The name and the expiration. Let's just move it to a couple years down. So then, and I'm going to check the shipping address is the same. It's already filled in, so it wouldn't matter, but I'm just going to check that. So submit order. So here on the thank you page, it's very clear that the order is completed because the progress bar is done, and I like that I can print the screen immediately. You may also want to add text here that says you'll be emailed a copy of your receipt or something like that to make the customer know that they don't have to print it. Because a lot of times customers these days are placing orders on their phone or on an iPad or at work, and they may not have a printer. So in that case, letting them know on this screen that they don't have to print it, that they'll be emailed a copy of their receipt, may make them feel more comfortable. Another thing you may want to include on this screen are basic information about your return policies or an estimated shipping date, things like that. To add text onto the thank you screen, you'd go under, again, Commerce Setup, Order System, and then on this screen, just click on Thank You. And it gives you text fields, text at the top of the screen and text at the bottom of the screen to add your own text. Last element, let's talk about the email. So on the email, a lot of email clients these days allow emails to be in HTML format. So I typically check the checkbox for customers to have their email in an HTML format. This will make it so that the graphics, your store logo graphic, the product image graphics, all of those will show up, and all of the colors from your store will show up. It won't just be plain text. The other important part is the subject line for the customers. You want to make sure that the subject line includes some information about your store so that 1, this isn't filtered by spam, and 2, the customer knows that it's their email receipt. So the default is just your receipt, order number, and it has the order number. But I typically do a custom one where you can say your receipt. Whoa, I spelled that wrong. Okay, your receipt from Tina's Toys. And then you can do the order number if you'd like. Order number, and then just enter in the same format, and that will be sent to the customer. That way they are familiar because they recognize the store name. And at the bottom of the receipt, you may want to include some advertising for yourself to encourage customers to come back to your store. You can include future specials, you can include a coupon code, or suggest other products. So adding additional text here, you can even do HTML so that customers are encouraged to place another order in your store. They may not take advantage of that, but a couple customers probably will, and will increase some of your sales. So save changes at the bottom, and this completes the video tutorial on the checkout process in your ShopSite store.